Jim Breuer is making the rounds. Jim Breuer, well-respected comedian for a long time, friend of Dave's, and of course now is persona non grata. And remember, just like Norm, a year and a half ago, they did the same thing with Norm, and what was the attack? Norm Macdonald still doing comedy? Ha, 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 ha. And it was so transparent because, of course, Norm is one of the most respected comedians. We all know this. We all know that Norm is fantastic. You may not like his humor, but like I've said, there's objectively funny, objectively unfunny, and then there's subjective in the middle. Objectively funny, your Richard Pryors, your George Carlins, your Norm Macdonalds, your Jim Breuers, who Norm Macdonald respected immensely, by the way.
Yeah.
About maybe up until 2 years ago, you wouldn't find a comedian who didn't respect Jim Breuer.
No.
He was one of the pure stand-ups who really wasn't that interested in doing SNL, wasn't interested, he would tell you, in doing films. He did stand-up. He was the stand-up's stand-up. And funny.
Well, he did SNL after he did Uptown Comedy Club, whatever that was, that short-lived sketch show.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's known as for being a stand-up. He's done one movie.
Right.
You know, that's it.
How high, even though he hasn't touched drugs in decades, because this is why people hate him. He's a born-again Christian now.
Yes. Well, his wife was a born-again Christian for a long time, and so is he.
Yeah.
He's relatively clean, but he's one of those guys who, before you go on, like when you go on before him, he's like, just don't be filthy, but I don't care. Like, he's all about comedy.
Yeah. That was always me, too. I would say, like, look, just don't make it so blue that then it's tough for me to go out and,
clean it up.
But I did Motor City Casino with him and Royal Oak Music Theater and a couple Detroit dates, and he's phenomenal. He's one of the best storytellers out there. And yes, and you start seeing these like terrible open mic comics or feature acts that are like, screw this guy. Oh, and they're just attacking him. It's like, if you got a phone call right now to open for him, you would be going 30 over to get to the theater.
Right. So here's a video, actually. Now Jim Breuer's under hot water because he's canceled shows at venues where he found out people were going to be forced to be vaccinated. He's been making the rounds. Let's just show a quick clip from Tucker last night.
My fans were really upset. They said, I'm not comfortable with getting a COVID shot, and now they're saying I can't come see you perform unless I do that. And I looked into it, and that's the last thing you should be doing.
He looks high, but he's not.
Is going, hey, you want to come?
You
want to come see
That's his whole thing.
They're like feeding the seal the fish. Hey, you want to come see a concert? There's a new narrative, and the new narrative is the unvaccinated are the beast. Kill the beast. And when our leader put that out there and pointed the finger, like we're the demons.
Yeah, and that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Vilifying at least a quarter, depending on which numbers you use or believe, of the nation who don't want to be forcibly vaccinated. Not even, by the way, that quarter of people are not saying the vaccine doesn't work.
Right.
What they're saying is, well, you told us, and Howard Stern still says, it's a cure.
Right.
Now you're saying it prevents hospitalization. Now you're saying we may need a booster shot. And the one thing that is irrefutable is people can say, I still think it works right now, but I don't know the long-term effects, and that's a risk-reward. And what I think is most important here to keep sight of is, look, I think it was, I don't remember who said this, but it might have been Norm Macdonald who said that a lot of comedians want to be rock stars. There's a lot of similarities when you look at what they're doing to Eric Clapton. Look, think about how they used to have Rock Against Bush, right? Yeah. No effects, which is the easiest thing in the world to rock against a Republican. And you have Rage Against the Machine wearing the shirt of a socialist dictator who was not a revolutionary, Che Guevara. He hated black people, hated gay people, executed people without trial, and was found in Bolivia holding his rifle, cowering, which had never been fired, saying, I'm worth more to you alive than dead. Yeah, that's the rebel without a cause, except he has a cause. It's called being a pussy.
Always been the machine.
You put him on your shirt. And now, though, they're furious with Eric Clapton. They're furious with any rock star or comedian who says, you know what? I don't want to do the bidding of the government and force you to get vaccinated. Look, this is not someone taking a stand forcing you to do anything. Yeah. This is a comedian, and now you have rock stars who are simply fighting for your right to choice. Remember that word?
No. They're going to say party.
Rock stars, including Eric Clapton, were always against the government.
That's what they were supposed to be.
Supposedly, yeah.
But now it's transparent. Well, I've always argued, it's really they're against one party. And some people say, Republican, Democrat. No, look, they set that up. So you only have one way to vote. And believe me, I do not want Republicans to take our votes for granted. But when you look at everyone, including the people who rage against the machine, who then campaign for the machine, is there anything more machine than a politician who's been in office for 50 years, who hasn't held private office? He's been suckling at the government teat, meaning your teat, for 50 years and can barely walk out to the podium without shitting his pants, without swamp monsters telling him what to say and where to go. And he admits it. They're telling me to say this. They're telling me to go there. And you are raging against the machine by supporting and campaigning for him while trying to squelch independent voices like Jim Breuer, who just wants to do comedy and shows.
Yeah, well, and he also made a really good point that I think is getting overlooked. Some people are bringing it up, but he's like, hey, I had COVID already.
Right.
So I don't need necessarily, this was him saying this, right? So I'm not a medical doctor saying this. He's like, I just don't need to go get the shot. He's saying that no kind of credit is being given to people that have the antibodies.
Right.
So, and that should be talked about. That should be studied to make sure, like, hey, maybe that's better. That's what Dr. Fauci was saying. He's like, hey, it actually looks pretty good. We'll see how long it lasts.
And maybe that's why there's no incentive to create accurate antibody tests.
Well, but if you have the vaccine, why are you afraid of getting the illness if it works?
Exactly.
I don't understand. There's that's why the entire thing's an oxymoron.
Look, this is right now. It's not a pandemic of the unvaccinated. It's a pandemic of people who don't like that they've made decisions with incomplete information. People who got the vaccine early on, you got it because you were told. We've been through it in this show. You can hit all of the links in the description here at louderwithcrowder.com. You were told that you don't need to worry about the virus once you're vaccinated. They changed the definition of what that protection was. So you were then you found out it was leaky, but they said, well, less chance of hospitalization. Now they're saying maybe a booster, and they're conflicted about that. Israel is saying maybe a booster. I think it was
WHO actually said there's not necessarily any need for it yet. We'll see. CDC is the one that's saying, yeah, we think we should do a booster.
And then I think the FDA is saying we don't know. So yes, no, we don't know. But when you got that vaccine, let's say 4 months ago, you saw Fauci on TV saying you don't need to worry about it. That's why everyone got mad, because people got vaccines and they were saying you're sending the wrong message to tell people to still wear masks. So then they said if you're vaccinated, you don't need masks. Well, now that changed. So this is really a pandemic of people trusting government blindly and then regretting decisions. Stick with your decision. Look, anyone who decided not to get vaccinated, they're sticking with their decision. You decided to get vaccinated and said, well, screw you, unvaccinated. It'll kill off the conservative voting base. Good. Then let them die.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.